Hello everyone. We'll study in this class have Mihwangsa Temple, one of the most beautiful temple in the mountains. Um, so first pictures, the stone steps of Mihwangsa Temple, not very beautiful or reflecting the beautiful. Um, However, you go up, you see different sceneries. The Mihwangsa Temple in time. However, it is difficult to describe scenery after arriving at Daeungjeon Hall in the temple grounds. Perhaps it is questionable whether it intended to be more surprise after hiding it so that it would not be easy to show. In the afternoon, the view of the many islands begins to melt into the surrounding nature environments. If it looks closely at the shape of a strange rock, it will not be able to see the same flat surface in any directions, even if it becomes in a mosaic. And in the second pictures, looks at the reflective surface of the light. None of it is the same with the different faces and minds. It can be seen another spectacular view, just like the human form. Mihwangsa Temple hidden its splendor in the plainness. The Daeungjeon Hall that stands tall against the backdrop of a folding screen like a strange stones, literally overflowing with antique elegance. The dancheong of Daeungjeon Hall was washed away by the sea breeze, also reflects the years of the Mihwangsa Temple. Let's move to Zelkova column and the fish cornerstones. These kind of cornerstones of the Daeungjeon Hall of Mihwangsa Temple is inscribed with the sea creatures such as the turtles in the second pictures and the crabs in the third pictures. This is related to the beginning of Mihwangsa Temple on a ship full of scriptures and the Buddhist status from the West. And as a symbol of the ship, the sea creatures are carved on the foundation stones of Daeungjeon Hall. The pillars of the temple mainly use species of pine, but Daeungjeon uses an old Zelkova trees is very hard inside and does not decay well and has less twist. As usual, there are no glaring decorations, and the fish-shaped cornerstone supports the Zelkova pillar. There are three different the method, you know. Um, or visual relationship in the nature show harmonious compositions only when each element support and strengthens other elements. The forming a relationship which they incorporate and it depends on each other. Considering the way different shapes are connected in the space, there are ways to you know wedging, 쐐기로 고정, cradling, 이제 떠받쳐서 지탱, and the last the piercing, 뚫어서 연결, piercing through the large holes. In particular, Zelkova columns have fixed form of wedge, while the fish-shaped cornerstones support Zelkova columns. At the same time, interesting, very interesting. It cannot but be marvelous from any positions. The old tree lines of the temple's pillars catch the eye. It's like a dragon ascending to heaven, but it might be meant to breathe life into a lifeless pillar. The fish-shaped foundation stones and the Zelkova columns matches very well with each other. Mihwangsa daffodils, the daffodils beautifully raise their faces on the flower bed in front of Daeungjeon Hall. The daffodils in front of the Daeungjeon exhibit another beauty of Mihwangsa Temple. The daffodils in Mihwangsa has very strong directional force. Starting with the directional curve of petals facing outward from six centers, and the spiral curve of the pistil, of the harmony between the eaves and the roof lines of the catenary, and accented lines and the plum trees in the form of the reverse curve into the shapes of interior architectural structures, which represent the figures of reverse rotation in all directions. So mysterious, it is wonderful moment to watch these kind of scenes. The reverse rotation of the plum tree's branches in all directions, also considered a very attractive emotional element for designers. Lindsay Adelman, very famous designers, designed lighting by using a branch-like design as branching. See first pictures, it looks like a branch elaborately produced and expressed glass wood and glass metal. Most of the works made of the glass and metal materials, especially handcrafted glass lighting made by blowing. Team up with the Japanese glass craftsman Michiko Sakano to give off a strong light. Together they work hard to create a form of the lighting, maximize the sense of the emptiness and the light. See in the picture in the middle, inspired by roots similar to branches, another design work, Philip Stock's WW Stool, is more like a sculpture than a chair. Starting from the spiral curves of the center of the chairs has very strong central force and a directional force intended by the designers. The three bridge lines, which seem to be hidden, are very unique designs, not even four. Stone steps, evergreen, splendor trees, and ivy vines. You see these kind of trees and vines, ivy vines in everywhere. The stone like a strange rock, symbolize the strong will of the ancient time. The scholars wanted to learn the spirit of the stones. The stone also acts as a native, guardians, and the facial expressions, humorous and comfortable, and showing human aspects rather than scary and solemn. There are traces of the time left in every corner of the stones. As you appreciate it, you can feel a lot of things, such as the simple humanity in the stones, the religious spirit, you push it wholeness, and unchangeable will. The stone is rough, without any decoration or fineness. The stairs are also, stacked with long stones. It was built in a geometric form, with all the materials that come from nature as a priority. The orthodoxy of traditional architectures shows the form of the scenery can be enjoyed by attracting outside space through the combinations of low walls and natural elements and allow a flexible view of nature. The materials in the Korean gardens not always green trees, but they grow and become leafy and fall leaves according to the seasons. In the winter, the scenery change with the seasons. Let's move to next, fence and the rock. Respecting the rock, the fence next to it is neither clean nor tidy. Connect naturally and never show up for single natural sculptures. Doesn't matter whether the fence comes first or the rock comes first. However, they seem to respect each other. On the side of the old fence, a large hidden rock lies on the green grass. Water lily behind the gardens. All sorts of the white and red colored water lily behind the garden that makes the temple scenes full of the green even richer. Water lilies filled with water, not tired of the heat, and each one shows a more beautiful look. It is why she lights up the world with her elegant beauty from dirty mud. Now, many designers simplify the shaping element of the geometry with the motif of the water lilies, flowers, birds, and use repetitive repetitive patterns of the water lily leaves to induce a sense of psychological stability, intended to feel the beauty and mystery of the repeated geometric patterns. One can feel warm and stable serenity by the effects of light shining brightly on the repeated constructed forms. Water lilies and the petals help express their own times. Round circular leaves are subdominant, which is beautiful in line, and the proportions and complements the geometric form of the flower are the dominant. These interrelationships strengthen the tensions in a special relationship between components. Looking closely at the interconnections and the visual relationship between the elements and how they move, we can only once again admire the harmony between all the force of nature and its components. Geometrical form of the water lilies can be called, metaphorical form of the natural or refined form created by the human intelligent thinking systems. The patterns of wooden doors also seem to have flat compositions of geometric shapes of these natural materials. Geometrical forms of natural materials such as lotus flowers and water lilies are often introduced into works of art as various themes with concepts of new proportions and order and size. You see famous artwork, pumpkin by Kusama Yaoi, who draws images of a piece through the repetitions and colors of motifs of the obsessions and you know hallucinations. The well represented work in place of meaning of natural geometric repetitions, like the water lilies in the temple grounds, like the pumpkin of Yaoi Kusama. uh, it captivates people's hearts you know, endlessly with a very wild and you know humorous atmosphere. Let's move to the top. Dosolam. It's very famous near uh, mountains, Dalma mountain. We are instinctively aware of the golden ratio in our daily lives. To the extent the golden ratio is somewhat difficult to explain, is overshadowed. It is said if the form gives a visual sense of stability, a natural ratio of things go a little wrong. But it is caused by human cognitive ability to feel a sense of incom- incompatibility, and pursue perfect proportions. However, Dosolam above Dalma mountain seem to have a very harmonious and stable compositions. When you look at nature, the golden ratio, called the standard of the beauty, the human admired for a long time, is even more engraved on your heart. Relaxation in. Let's have relaxation moments. Over the roof of the temple, the beautiful ridge of islands bend over the sea. The setting sun is turning the sky, the islands, the sea, and the temple into faint red light. As I stared at the sunset, the bells rang out to announce the evening prayer. The bird with an earnest heart sits gently down to the top of the roof and looks at the sunset. The subtle color of the last sunshine spreading to the island, to the sea, and to the rocky peaks penetrates into the mind with the sound of the bell. The brilliant colors of the sunset, whispers love as the sun blushes, shyly in the golden colored sunset along the coast of the night sea. Falling into the far South Sea can sometimes be a blurry and even more spectacular, as if worrying the color would disappear when the light fades. The color fades slowly, for that wishes it seems to say the sun is hotter when it falls on the floor than when it is caught in the sky. Especially at sunset, the rocks receive the glow of the sunset. It seemed to be a spectacular sight with the red color. While looking at the rocks for a long time, and soon missed the more important colors of the sunset. While looking at the front yard with the Daeungjeon behind, it will be seen in the West Sea, Mountain Dalma in the background. the sea in the front, and in a way, Mihwangsa Temple were built here for granted. Thank you for listening these lectures. See you soon in next chapters. Bye.